Hey guys, Brian from PhoneArena here, and today we're going to take a look at the HTC EVO View 4G. The View 4G is Sprint's latest tablet. It's another 7-incher like their Galaxy Tab from last year, and it's their second one to have the cellular data built in. As the name implies, it is a 4G tablet, and it's also part of the EVO family. So while it's similar to the HTC Flyer in specs, you can see it has a fancy new design. Much like the EVO, you've got the red ring around the camera here. You also have a pair of stereo speakers with red inserts. Of course, the HTC logo on the back. But it very much looks like an EVO, just bigger. So we're going to try and keep it in the landscape orientation here just because it's hard to film in portrait. But if we flip it over real quick, we can see that the buttons do flip around. One of the things and one of the reasons you see these buttons is because this is a gingerbread tablet, not a honeycomb tablet, as we've seen from pretty much everything else on the market right now. That's because HTC didn't get the source code for honeycomb from Google, and therefore they went forward with gingerbread. Luckily, HTC is fantastic at user interfaces, and their new Sense 3.0 is baked into this. One of the things we do see here immediately is there's now 8 home screens instead of 7. It's the Sense 3.0 interface, so we have the new little carousel effect, some cool things like that. The drop-down notification is now 2-paned. In portrait mode, it's going to be 1-paned, but you do have some extra options. You've got a tab down here at the bottom to go to your quick settings, which when you switch over to landscape, you've got that right there. So very cool. Now, we've already taken a pretty in-depth look at Sense 3.0 in our Flyer and Sensation reviews, so if you want a little bit more in-depth, go ahead and check those out. Basically, we're just going to leave it at so much more room with the EVO View 4G. You have a lot more space for things to do on the widget. So, for instance, if you go to our calendar widget, you can see that there's the month calendar on top, and then down below you're going to have the agenda calendar. So that's a pretty nice feature, and we see that throughout many of the HTC apps. They've been reworked to take advantage of the extra space. As usual, HTC does a fantastic job with the UI and really helps to sugarcoat the fact that this doesn't have honeycomb. And then when we switch it over to landscape, of course, they go back to the normal ones that you know and love from previous HTC devices, like the original EVO. So let's take a look around the device. We've got nothing on the left-hand side. Up at the top of the view, we have a 3.5mm headset jack and the power button. We have the volume rocker on the right, and very simply the micro SD port on the bottom. Excuse us, micro USB. On the back, we already saw the 5-megapixel camera, but underneath this, we can slide this off, and we're going to find the micro SD card slot. Now, the View does not ship with the card, but it does have 32 gigs of internal memory. So that's going to be plenty for most users, but you can add another 32 gigs if you want. And one of the things we're also going to show you is this fingerprinting. This was a clean tablet when we started this review just a few short minutes ago. It fingerprints like crazy. It is one of the worst fingerprinting things we've seen in a very long time. So for some users that are neat freaks, they're going to be constantly cleaning this off. We recommend that you just kind of learn to live with it. Luckily, the screen is very bright, very vibrant. So they don't really get in the way. They're extremely noticeable when turned off, obviously, but when you're using the device, the fingerprints don't really hinder any of the performance. Now, as you can see on this bottom plastic piece, it's not flush with the device like it is up at the top. So at first, it's a little bit awkward to hold. Definitely when you're holding it in the portrait orientation, you're going to have some issues with getting comfortable. Not a huge deal, but when you're holding it in the landscape orientation, this serves kind of as a grip for your hands. So it's pretty nice in that feature. We would imagine it's to house the antennas down there. That's why it's plastic, so it gets better reception than the aluminum backing. But it's just something that you get used to. Overall, the build quality on the EVO View 4G, as well as the HTC Flyer, is absolutely fantastic. It feels very, very solid in the hand. It is completely up to par with the high-end HTC devices we've come to know and love. So if you're looking for the most solidly built tablet out there, the EVO View 4G is a very strong contender. The most unique feature of the EVO View is without a doubt the HTC Scribe technology. So down in the corner here, we're not sure how well this is showing up and you probably can't see it, but there's a little capacitive button towards the bottom right of the screen with a pen. using the HTC pen. We tap that, and you can see we have some options. We can also simply tap the screen. It's going to take a screenshot, and now when we tap that, we have all kinds of options for different pens. We can choose to view or not view stuff that we write on the screen. So this is really cool. This allows note-taking to be quick and easy. And it's really a unique feature. We've seen styluses on tablets and phones, and with the introduction of the iPhone, there's been a huge move away from the stylus. This isn't exactly a stylus per se. However, this HTC Scribe technology allows us to do a lot of really cool things. Another really cool feature is the fact that you can't hit buttons with this, for instance. So if I want to discard this, I actually have to hit that with my finger. The pen is for being a pen. Let's go ahead and open up the reader here and check out the first book. I have to flip it around. So one of the things you can also do is, in an instance like this, use it to highlight text directly. So we press the button on the pen and we can highlight this as we wish. Now there is a highlight feature and we could write on it and do all that kind of fun stuff, but this is actually interacting with the text directly to highlight everything that we have on there. So it does have a built-in reader. You can of course get Amazon and Nook and all the other things out there, but the HTC reader allows you to interface with the HTC Scribe technology, and that way you can highlight and mark up your book. That's one of the things we have felt has been missing from software out there with e-readers. We mentioned that in our iPad review a long time ago, that it would be great for textbooks if we could have some way to highlight and mark and write notes in our books, and now we have that option with the HTC Scribe technology. So kudos to HTC for coming up with something very unique in a market space that is going to get extremely crowded here real quick. So let's take a look at the pen here. As you can see, it's no real bigger than any normal pen. There are two buttons. This tip moves just a little bit, and that's because it does sense pressure. So the lighter you write on it, the lighter the marking will be. There is a battery inside, and that battery is what powers the pen and allows it to talk. It is a quadruple A battery. And these two buttons, the bottom button highlights, so we showed you that in the book. A lot of places it doesn't actually do anything, but for those things that it'll work with, the bottom is the highlighter. And then the top button is the eraser. So if you press that down as you're writing on it, it's just going to erase over whatever you're doing. So here's the pen. It is very cool. We really like it. It is an $80 accessory if you buy the HTC Flyer. If you buy the EVO View 4G from Sprint, this pen comes included with it. So a little bit overpriced in our opinion as a standalone, but it's awesome to see it included. So there's a whole lot to like about the HTC View 4G. However, it does show its face in not being honeycomb in a couple areas. As you can see on the market here, there's just a lot of unused space, or it just doesn't fit it right. So normally on the phone we're seeing this on the top and then a few apps down here. Now we have a ton of apps because it's not properly formatted. We'd like to see this bigger. These could definitely be bigger icons. We've also found that some of the apps that we've downloaded don't run in full screen. So we're going to go ahead and open up our speed test app here real quick and just show you what you're looking at. But we found this on the iPad when it originally launched as well. But as you can see, it's not taking up the full screen space. So hopefully this is going to get updated to honeycomb sooner rather than later. We don't want to see the HTC Sense go away, but it would be nice to have those apps that are more compatible with the tablet because of that increased screen space. Overall though, we really like the View 4G. It's a really nice device. The design is absolutely unparalleled. It is just fantastic. It takes a little getting used to, like we said, with this hump back here. However, once you do that, it's really, really great. At 7 inches, it's still semi-pocketable, so it's kind of nice to have that feature if you really want it. We don't feel that we're missing space like we would on anything smaller. Something obviously like the Galaxy Tab 10.1 or the Motorola Zoom is going to offer you 10 inches, and that's really nice. However, sometimes that can be a little bit cumbersome. So this 7-inch size really hits a sweet spot with a lot of people. And we really see a lot of promise. The 4G speeds on this was pretty good. The camera performance was so-so, it could be better, but then again, we don't expect a lot of people to be using their tablet as a camera. It does has a front-facing camera here. We failed to point out before, but you can see it in the reflection. Because it's not Android 2.3.4, it doesn't support the Google Talk video chat, but hopefully that's something we're going to see in the future. It does, of course, come preloaded with the quick video messaging like we've seen on the HTC EVO and the EVO 3D. So overall, a lot of things we really like about the EVO View 4G. The 4G connectivity is very nice to have and gives it a big advantage over the Flyer. Lots of memory, extremely quick, great interface. We would like to see it upgrade to the Honeycomb, but other than that, that's our main gripes.